Hello everyone. Today we are here to explain the classification of human activities. This video is made by the students of OMG batch Vashi, brought by JK Shah classes. So here we start. So human activities. Human activities refers to all those actions which are performed by humans to satisfy their needs and wants. Like, let's take an example. Human activities like doing household works, doing business, these all are human activities. Basically, are those activities which are performed by humans. Human activities are classified into two parts, which is non-economic activity and economic activity. So non-economic activities are those activities which are performed to satisfy personal or religious or social sentimental requirements without monetary expectation. Like let's take an example of reading book. So reading book gives you a pleasure. Similarly, serving people, here you don't expect a monetary transaction. Even let's take an example, which is of cooking done by mother and cooking done by a chef. So cooking done by a chef where you need to give money, which is an economic activity, but whereas cooking by mother is a non-economic activity as we do not pay for it. So coming towards the economic activity, as I mentioned about the chef, so it refers to the action that involves the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services at all levels within a society. So basically, in economic activity, for each and every work, you need to pay for them. Like, let's take an example here of the workers working in a factory, and office working people working at bank, teachers, CA, doctors. We all pay them for their work. So that is all about economic activity. Moving further ahead, so basically, economic activity is bifurcated into three parts, which is business, profession, and employment, as you can see in the slide. So basically, coming towards business, business. When during the ancient time, there were many professors who came and who gave various definitions about business, like Professor Haney, Professor Pride, Professor Kapoor. So now, what is the basic and the most easiest explanation for business? Business is one of the economic activities performed by human beings. It enables them to earn a livelihood or money. As you can see in the slide 2, as we have inserted the image of one of the biggest businessmen of India, which is Mukesh Ambani. So he runs a business. Now, what business does is basically business does two things, which is production and distribution, as we also told about it in our definition. Like business is equals to production plus distribution. So production means manufacturing or producing of goods, and distribution means distributing the fixed or the outcome of the products to various parts of our world. So that's where distribution comes. Like one of the example of distribution is transportation. So that was all about the business. Let's take an example to conclude this. Is like another businessman of our India, which is the CEO of Adani Groups, none other than Gautam Adani. Gautam Adani is a classic example of business activity because he has Adani ports and other Adani businesses. So which is an example of business. They run like they do a large scale production, even in Adani Powers. Then they do distribution, as I told about Adani Port. So Gautam Adani is again one of a biggest example for the business. Even when you talk about Tata, Reliance, Geo, these are the various examples of the business firms. And last but not the least, which is business ka main motive is profit. Why businessmen come up with businesses? That is to earn profit. So now I would request my friend to take up ahead with profession and employment. Ini, you may continue.
Thank you, Subramani. Profession. It is an economic activity which requires education, training, and skills. It is performed by an individual who are expert in that field. And example of those are doctor, lawyer, chartered accountants, etc. Professions follow a code of conduct and are usually members of a recognized professional body. So here we have a very big example of the profession. our own JK Shah. JK Shah classes. Yeah, employment. Employment is an economic activity where a person works for another person or an organization for regular payments such as salary or wages. The employee provide services according to their skills. And here we have examples of engineers working for the company or something like that.
Okay. So now business is again bifurcated into two parts, which is industries and commerce. So let's talk about it. I may request my friend to continue with the part of industry. Cool. Okay. So industries implies the economic activities that are associated with conversion of um, the resources into goods that are ready for uses. Like when we talk about industries, let's take an example of the Tata Steels. Tata Steels is an industry. So what does Tata Steels does? First of all, they find a location. So where is Tata Steels mainly? They are in the Tata world, which is present at Jharkhand. So first of all, they found a location. And how they found a location? They found the location because that was a place where they could find most of the minerals and the materials which they needed to run a factory or to run an industry. So next is utility. It converts the raw materials into usable finished goods. That's what is the main, thing which industries does. Moving further ahead, uh, so industry is again divided into three parts, which is primary industry, secondary industries, and tertiary industry. So let's talk about it. Primary industries. Primary industry is basically a nature-oriented industry. Like one of the products of the primary industries can be used as an input for secondary industries. Like best example of primary industries are agriculture industry. Like we grow grains and then it is directly consumed by us. So agriculture. Then we talk about genetic industry, extractive industries like how we saw about KGF. So that was an extractive industry. Moving further ahead, which is a secondary industry. So secondary industries, these industries convert the raw materials provided by the primary industries into a finished products, and hence it depends upon primary industries. Best example of secondary industries are manufacturing industries and construction industries. Like first of all, in primary industries, the bricks are created, and then those bricks are used by the secondary industries to build a tower, as you can see in the graphics. Moving further ahead, which is the one of the most interesting part, which is the tertiary industries. So, what does tertiary industries does? Let's take an example here. Basically, there's a primary industry which grows food grains, and secondary industries which converts the food grains into packet items and then sell it. So now there is a gap between primary industries and secondary industry. That's where tertiary industry comes. Tertiary industries, like one of the example is transportation. So it will help to transport the goods from primary industries to secondary industries. Again, here there are many examples of tertiary industries like the hotel industry, tourism industry, entertainment industries. So these are one of the biggest examples of the tertiary industries. Moving further ahead, which is commerce. Now, I would request my friend to continue with commerce.
So, what is commerce? Commerce is defined as the exchange of goods and services between two and more entities. It is concerned with the distribution of goods and services produced by the industry. Uh, Commerce is utilized. Commerce is a bridge between the producers and the consumers. The components of the commerce are divided into trade and auxiliaries to trade. And trade is further divided into home trade and foreign trade. Auxiliary to trade is about transport, warehousing, banking, and various more things. So,
So, trade. Trade denotes buying and selling of goods and services. Trade is an exchange of goods and services with the monies or money's worth. Next. Trade is divided into two parts, home trade and foreign trade. Home trade is trade which happens within a country. In this trade, buying and selling of goods and services takes place within the geographical boundaries of a country. It uses local currency for the exchange of goods and services. Home trade is further classified into wholesale trade and retail trade. Wholesale trade. In wholesale trade, goods are purchased and sold in bulk. A wholesaler purchases in large quantities from the products and sells. Retail
so
trade.
now,
Retail trade is
so now we will start with the foreign trade. So what do you understand with the term foreign trade? What is meant by foreign trade and what is foreign trade? The answer is very simple. The foreign trade takes place between two different countries is known as foreign trade. In this type of trade, for foreign currencies are mostly used. It is further classified into three types. First is import trade, second is export trade, and last but not the least is the interport trade. First, we'll start with the import trade. So what is import trade? When goods and services are purchased from another country, is called as import trade. And India imports 90% of the parts of mobile phones, laptops, and various other electronic devices from China and crude oil from Saudi Arabia. Now, second is the export trade. So, what do you mean by export trade? It is very simple. When goods and services are sold to the foreign buyers or to other countries, is called as export trade. And I am very happy to say that India is large exporter of coffee, spices, and various other things. And India exports raw cotton to China, which is very important for medical industry, clothing industry, and production of various goods which are made from cotton. Last but not the least is the interport trade. In the simple words, we can say that it is a combination of both import trade and export trade. In this type of trade, a country buys goods from another country and resells those goods to a different country. For example, we can say that India buys laptops from Japan and sells those laptops to Africa. This is an example of foreign trade. For further
So,
explanation, I sorry.
so, auxiliaries to trade. Auxiliaries to trade or or aids to trade refers to all those activities that facilitate smooth flow of goods from manufacturing center to the center. So, which help in the smooth flow of goods are transportation, warehousing, insurance, banking, advertising, mercantile agents, and communication.
I hope that by this time you all must have known about the classification of the human activities. So I hope that you all may have understood, and this is our team. So that's it for today. Hope that you may like the video. So like, share, and subscribe. Until then, we will meet next time. Thank you.